Last night, the Memphis Grizzlies played the Golden State Warriors. They lost the game 134 to 125. In that game, Stephen Curry had 52 points, while Morant had 36 points. Statistically, had a great game, but what overshadowed his game was not only losing to the Warriors, but what he did towards the end of the game last night, in which he gave Buddy Hield a gun shooting gesture by making his hand to a gun and pointing it towards Buddy Hield from a distance, like firing it off like someone would fire off a gun. That generated a lot of headlines today. People talked about it today. I didn't really care much about it that much. To me, is immature. He's been immature for a long time. To me, he's like a like 12-year-old trapped inside of like, I don't know, 25-year-old's body. I don't know how old is he? 25, 26 now. Just that's been the vibe he's given me the last few years. But it's gotten a lot of criticism, and rightfully so. This is very inappropriate. But what really stuck out to me now is that has responded to these critics on the X platform in a tweet in which he said, "Ja this, Ja that," and a laughing emoji. This to me shows that this guy is just super immature and he doesn't care. It's not like he doesn't care what people think about him, but in general, he doesn't really care about anything except just showing out, having fun, and that's really about it. He's not a true competitor in the sense, or he doesn't have any awareness or the ability to hold himself accountable for just his immature hijinks. To him, this is all a game. This is all a joke, in which the joke is on the fans because he knows at the end of the day he's going to collect his paycheck, his astronomical paycheck, that is, and he doesn't have to worry about nothing. He can do whatever he wants. He'll be unopposed, and nothing will happen. And I think that's a travesty because this guy is not a real competitor. He's a great talent. There's no doubt. To me, his talent is unquestionable. He's arguably probably the fastest guard in the league. Maybe he has the best hops for a guard in the league. Just supremely athletic player. Just he's great at finishing, but all that talent doesn't really mean anything if you don't have a competitive spirit. And I don't think he does. I think his way of just accepting even that loss was being immature and just pointing the gun towards Buddy Hield instead of being angry at himself for not being able to lead his team to victory or to do the right things to find a way to help his team win. Grant, he did put up a great stat line, but it's not just about stats. It's about like how do you organize your team as a leader? He's not a leader. His team doesn't look to him for guidance, and that's a damn shame because usually your best player has to be your leader to win in this league, and he hasn't shown the maturity yet that he can be a leader, and I don't think he ever will. I just think this guy this guy is just about having fun, about being this fake gangster. If you're honest, this guy is like a suburban gangster, which sounds pretty stupid when you think about it. But I had to point at him and mock him just of his attempts to try to be this gangster guy when it's very clear he came from a stable middle class suburban neighborhood, but he's trying to be somebody that he's not. You cannot be a real gangster if you grew up strongly middle class. His family was strongly middle class from what I've researched, so he didn't really have that adversity of someone who grew up in the inner cities and whatnot. Just he's not that guy, but he's obsessed with portraying that character on the court, off the court, and it's silly because I believe if you don't know who you are, if you don't know who you are in life, there's a high chance you won't be successful. And even if you are successful, it won't last long because people will take advantage of you not having a clear identity. They can use that against you. They can get you to do stupid things that can endanger you. In Ja's case, he's trying to act like a gangster when he's not. He's been lucky a few times that he hasn't really cost himself anything big with trying to live up to being this fake gangster, but he has hurt himself. He's gotten suspended a few times with his stupid antics. He's put himself in risky situations that eventually that will catch up to him. I definitely believe that will catch up to him. Just he can get away with it now because he's young, but in a few years he's not going to be that young anymore. And once you hit 30, you get less chances, I believe, not just in life, but just in the sports world, especially, just because your time is very limited, unless you're going to use HGH like LeBron and maybe you can play until 50. But that's another story. So I do think it'll come back to haunt him eventually. And the Grizzlies are between a rock and a hard spot right now, in the sense that after these playoffs, they're gonna have to make a decision. Like, do they want to continue this experiment with Ja? Do they want to continue to put up with his hijinks? Is it really worth it, or do they just get rid of him and just rebuild the team? I think they had to make the decision. If they keep him, well, then they're gonna get nothing but a circus show for the next several years, and nothing good is gonna come out of it. I don't see this guy growing up or maturing or ever learning how to be a real leader, a real winner. The NBA, I don't think is going to do anything. And even if they don't do anything, it won't bother me. I won't say really bother me. It just won't bother me, period, because I don't think a fine or even a suspending this guy by a few games will change his demeanor. He's going to be who he is. And that's really a travesty because he's wasting his talent. And I hate to sound now like an old person, which really sucks. I sound like one of those people I hated when I was growing up. But hey, he's a role model for kids. And I think that's the worst thing. There are a bunch of kids that look up to this guy and they're going to mimic the nonsense he's doing, such as doing that stupid gun gesture he was doing the other night and just pick up on that bad behavior. Just there's nothing to model after a fake gangster, but a lot of kids want to be like him. I know his shoes were top selling shoes a few years ago. So he has that credibility with these kids. And I think that's terrible. Just he's giving them the bad idea. He's selling them a horrible marketed propaganda, as I call it, when these media people, these commercial figures in the entertainment industry try to sell a lifestyle of being a gangster as being this ideal lifestyle of fun and riches, when it's really a lifestyle of misery because you're always watching your back, never knowing who's going to take you out next or who could come after your family. It's not a great lifestyle to want to emulate or live, but kids don't know that when they're sold that propaganda at a young age. They just buy into it, hook, line, and sinker, and it's to me a terrible thing. And Ja plays a role in this horrible propaganda that they try to sell regarding this gangster lifestyle. He tries to embody it, and he's even a dumber person because he has no excuse to embody it since he didn't grow up in that life. So yeah, that's all I had to say. He's just a profoundly stupid guy, and I don't have anything else to say.